Um, just before I start with, the main part of your question, just to highlight the fact that, in fact, I heard you talking about 3,000 homeowners associations. I can indicate to you that your concern is our concern. It is actually far more than that 3,000, Russell. You're talking, close to, anything between, say, 7 to 10,000 HOAs. Yes. So you can see the seriousness, and I can hear from your voice, the fact that you are worried with the fact that we are bombarded with quite a lot of these matters, and so I just wanted to indicate to you that it's far more than that, and it is for this reason that we're trying to get quality. We're trying to automate the system. We're trying to make sure that we can be able to deal with these matters as quick as possible. Now, getting direct into the issue with regard to agent matters. The C-SOS has what we call Section 36 of the C-SOS legislation talks to practice directives that the Ombudsman can issue from time to time. What is of crisp issue here is that those practice directives must be in line with the primary legislation, that is the Act itself and its regulations. In other words, you cannot introduce something new that is outside of what you can do in terms of the current legislation. We are a creature of statutes. In other words, we can only do anything within the four quarters of this legislation. Now, the beauty of this legislation now, the C-SOS Act, has also Section 39(7)(b) that talks to any other order that can be proposed by the Ombudsman. In other words, it is now giving the Ombudsman the opportunity to bring in additional orders or matters that they are, or that the Ombudsman is of the view that these are matters within the industry, within the legislation itself, that needs to be dealt with. And touching directly to your matter, to say, you are saying, look, there's an issue here wherein an arbitration might be, the arbitration route might be followed, and it might cost the scheme over $1 million or so in terms of the fees that might come out of that arbitration process. And you are saying, we don't want to go to the arbitration process. And you see, that court case also that I dealt with also, and there's also a number of other cases, particularly in the Western Cape, the trustees of time being a case, which is also one of the leading cases as well, talks to the issue of matters that can be dealt with by the Ombudsman. Now it says that these matters must first go to the Ombudsman. The intention of the legislature in creating the C-SOS legislation and creating the Ombudsman was to say, we want to remove all these other gray areas wherein the schemes themselves will say the internal remedies that would need to be applied before coming to C-SOS is the arbitration. In this instance, a matter of this nature, you bring it to us, but now you have raised something of importance to say, how do we then indicate that this is urgent to be able to be dealt with? Now, the issue here will be that once this matter has reached the C-SOS before court, and I will just indicate only court, and put that in brackets to say only court. It doesn't say any other forums. It talks to the court to say, if it's not court, that matter once is deceased with us here, it is here at C-SOS, you can't bring arbitration issues because they will be found to be invalid. It's what we call forum shopping. You see, it's like your matter is here at C-SOS, and the same matter now, the HOA wants to take it to an arbitrator to say, let's deal with it. I can tell you now that even if you raise or you go to court on an urgent basis and say, I want the court to set aside this matter with punitive costs against whoever part of the administrators who are taking this matter for an arbitration, so that they are personally liable for the costs incurred by the HOA. The court, I can tell you now that your possibility of success in terms of that are very high. And therefore, the court will say, but the matter is ceased, the CSOS is ceased with this matter. Why are you now bringing an arbitration? And therefore, you can also bring it to our attention, wherein we can write to the HOA and say, here is a matter that we are seized with. Yes, we know that we are not yet done as far as this matter is concerned. They are still, the matter is still underway. However, you cannot proceed to now take the matter for an arbitration whilst we are still. I think that we can do in order to alleviate, all the problems that you are raising in terms of bringing a matter to, or taking a matter to an arbitrator as opposed to taking it here. And again, the CSOS is what they call the court of first instance. And that is why the court are saying in the Toronto case, you need to start with the ombud first, the regulator, which is seized with this at a cheaper way of dealing with this rather than taking it to court. And I can indicate to you that even courts now are inundated with a lot of these matters. I think the next available date for this in some of our courts, you're talking 27, 28 or so, which is way far, again, yeah. But again, it's as I'm saying to you, you are able to perhaps bring it to our attention. We can write, we can interdict them, we can write to them, but you know that once we have written to them, and you then bring an urgent application, that letter or email that we have written to them, it will assist your case when you go to court and say, I want to stop this. Yes, that's how you can also approach that one.